So, they finally remastered Outlaws. I like this game a lot. And I've been looking for a place to get it. I think it's available on GOG. I want the original version, though. I really wish I could just get a DRM-free version. Is it on GOG? Let me know down there in the comments, because I will totally buy it. Not the remastered version, the original version. If not, then I'm going to be sailing the seas.
If you played a lot of games back in the 1990s, then there was a pretty high chance that you played a LucasArts.
Dude, I love games like this. I have this game, by the way. This is Star Wars. I don't even remember. I have it installed, literally, because I'm going to play it on a stream pretty soon. I would go through a whole bunch of old Star Wars games, because I bought a Star Wars pack with a whole bunch of old Star Wars games in it.
Game at one point or another. And they were really responsible for some of the most memorable and unique titles.
Oh, yeah. Escape from Monkey Island.
From that era. Even at a point when the industry was just constantly popping out banger after banger. I mean, you had things like Monkey Island,
yeah, Secret of Monkey
Jones,
Island,
and The Fate of Atlantis, along with
I didn't know about that one. I'm gonna have to check that one out.
Arguably lesser-known first-person shooter with Outlaws.
I love Outlaws. The vibe of Outlaws is great. I haven't played it since I was a kid, though. I've been really getting into DOS games. Look how beautiful this is.
One of the first Western-themed shooters I think we ever got. If not certainly one of the first I ever played. In fact, the only Western game I'd played before this was Sunset Riders on the Mega Drive.
I played Wild Arms. That's a pretty good one, but that's more of like an anime Japanese-style game.
Yeah. It did have the unfortunate time.
I played Gun. I think this guy is quite a bit older than me, though. The PS1, PS2 era, that was my time.
Coming out in early 1997, though, not too long after Quake dropped, which
meant... Yeah, I played this way after that. I had this... My grandpa had this on his computer, and I just happened to play it.
That, yeah, it did get overshadowed a bit, which is understandable given how much of an impact that thing had on the genre. Well, the good news is that it finally might get some more of the credence it deserves, as it's now the latest title to be remastered by the folks over in
Oh, I hope it's good. I'll get this one too.
Dive Studios.
I'd rather play the original.
Not only the base game in its entirety, but also that handful of missions collection containing all that extra bonus content. And if you're looking for something fun to play this month and don't want to degrade yourself by playing the latest Call of Duty campaign, well, then yeah, man, you could do a hell of a lot worse than this thing, believe me.
That is music to my ears.
Let's assume you know nothing about it, though, and break the whole thing down, shall we?
I don't remember anything about it.
Before I get too far into things, though, I do have to talk about Odoo, an all-in-one business management platform.
Okay, whatever, man. I don't care about Odoo. Oh, do not tell me shit about it. I don't care. Cyberpunk.
Right, so the story is you're playing as a retired lawman named James Anderson, living with his wife Anna and daughter Sarah on a...
I thought he said retard. He said retired.
Ranch, having put down his star and spurs to become a family man.
This is history.
This is marriage.
And things seem to be going pretty well, until a couple of creeps show up at the ranch while James is off in town.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
I want more games like this, please. With this old style.
Is the marshal in?
There's just so much charm with the way it moves and the way it looks. It just looks like it's old.
Where a fumbled attempt to intimidate the family into selling their land off ends with Anna killed and Sarah kidnapped. James returns home just in time to see his entire world burn down and is able to speak to Anna briefly before she passes away, discovering that all of this has been orchestrated by a powerful tycoon named Bob Graham, who's trying to force people out of their homes so he can build a railroad line.
Go out there and don't come back till I can look at this map and know that every inch of it is mine.
The acting is immaculate. It is perfect.
All any of this ultimately does, though, is just piss James off. So he gets his old guns out and then heads off to rescue Sarah, taking out all the key members of Graham's gang along the way.
Of course, her name's Sarah.
Way.
Every Western game, it's always Sarah. Wasn't that the chick's name in Red Dead Redemption?
It's all very spaghetti western inspired, with the biggest and most obvious parallel.
I love spaghetti western stuff, especially the old, like Unforgiven, things like that.
Being to Sergio Leone films, especially Once Upon a Time in the West. I mean, the whole premise of a railroad tycoon...
Yeah, Once Upon a Time in the West, that's a real good one.
...upending innocent people as part of some greater plan to expand his empire is almost...
Also, It's the one with the baked beans. My name is Trinity, something like that. My name is still Trinity, something like that.
It's the exact
There was
same
3 of
plot
them.
as that one in the film. It even opens more or less the same, with a family being attacked and ultimately killed, with the
Could you tell that I was raised by a military grandpa?
original plan being to intimidate them and not murder them.
Was it necessary that you kill all of them? I only told you to scare them.
I did not mean burn down the property, kill the wife, and kidnap the child.
There's a whole backstory revealed eventually throughout the game here
Dude, this could be a movie, man.
too, in regards to James' past,
This was just like a random video game in the late 90s.
showing a vague flashback sequence with a mysterious antagonist, which again kinda mirrors the Man with the Harmonica's whole origin story as well. More than that though, you got lots of stylized shots with close-ups of people's faces and their eyes. Then there's longer, more expansive wide shots that really just seem to hang on to the moment. Well, how about this guy, for instance, who in no way resembles Lee Van Cleef?
Boys, did I tell you how much I hate lawmen?
Whatever happened to Lee Van Cleef? Whatever happened to Lee?
It's a small world.
Well, how about how the armor in the game is through wearing boilerplates, which, yeah, I'm sure is in no way a reference to a fistful of dollars either.
Yeah, this guy knows about westerns probably more than I do. Damn. I also love that movie.
I mean, even just the theme of the protagonist seeking revenge is a recurring theme in a lot of those Leone films.
How do I know you're telling the truth? 'Cause I don't want to die.
And I'd be watching shit like Gunsmoke, like Bonanza. I watched all that kind of stuff with my grandpa. Bat Masterson.
And then the music is more or less just flat out emulating the stuff that Ennio Morricone did as well, with a lot of whistling, twangy guitars, and weird vocalization.
I love it. I love it. There's no other vibe like the old Western vibe.
In fact, with one track in particular, it's almost identical to the ecstasy of gold from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Yeah, everybody knows that one. Oh shit, this was a LucasArts game. I completely forgot about that.
Yeah, which by the way, also happens to be the name for all the difficulty modes.
That's pretty
In fact,
cool.
it is hard to overstate how good a lot of this
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to replay this. Holy shit. I think I was 10 years old when I played this.
music actually is, all composed by Clint Bazakian, who had a pretty illustrious career as well, having worked on stuff like the Uncharted games, Killzone, and World of Warcraft. But yeah, I don't think any of the music he worked on for those games sounded anything like this. As they say though,
And I'm really getting into games like this. These like what do they call them? Boomer shooters. It's especially the new kinds. There's a Forgive Me Father 2 is one that comes to mind. I love this style of game.
if you're going to steal from the best. And about all it's missing is Claudia
Also, what's the PI for hire?
Cardinale sitting in a bathtub. Yeah, Outlaws. There is quite a lot of cool little details in this game too, a lot of which was really at the forefront of the genre back then. Like,
Fallout Bakersfield. Dude, I'm so looking forward to that one.
for starters, I'm pretty sure it's one of the earliest FPS
That's just a
games where you
mod.
had to manually reload your own weapons. At least it was before
That's
that
cool.
kind of thing was commonplace. Like, considering Duke Nukem 3D came out that same year and didn't have it at all. As well as it being one of the earliest games where you had a stamina system and could sprint, along with being able to actually swim. Was
That's
also an early
crazy.
example of a game world being much more interactive, like in the way you could shoot out stuff like windows, but then also shoot props like metal stoves, pans, and bottles. If you shot the oil lamps on the ceilings, they'd even smash, and then the fire would fall to the ground and slowly burn off. Plus it had destructive walls, which was again something only just being introduced into the genre, primarily with the build engine and game.
Dude, all the way back then, with a game like this, and we don't even see this shit anymore.
Games like Duke Nukem and Blood that same year. Yeah, man, like speaking of 97, that was the year we got Duke Nukem, Blood.
Dude, I can't wait to get into all of these, like, in quotes, Doom clones, which a lot of them aren't even. They're just, very similar because came from that time. There are a lot of games that are just like, they kind of have the Doom vibe, but they are definitely not Doom. And I'm gonna have to do a series, I think, diving into a whole bunch of them.
And Shadow Warrior. And I think that everyone was just too busy rightfully jacking off
Yeah, Shadow Warrior is another one that I love.
over those games to really notice that Outlaws, in a lot of ways, did things just as good as they did.
What
Like
the
a lot
fuck?
of the other random little details that they've added in, like how if you shoot someone at point blank range with a shotgun, you can literally see them get blasted backwards from the force.
That's cool.
And if you shoot someone and they fall off a cliff or a high ledge, they let out this very over-the-top cinematic scream as they plummet
Wilhelm
to their
scream?
death.
Oh, thank God.
Which is about the closest we get to the Wilhelm scream without it
Yeah.
actually being the Wilhelm scream.
I'm so glad that it's not.
The other thing that was really interesting about Outlaws is how all of these cinematics were fully voiced and animated, using this unique hand-drawn art style, which was the kind
Yep,
of thing
I
that we
love
just
it.
didn't really see all that much, especially not in first-person shooters.
I don't even recall any first-person shooters back then looking like this remotely. The only thing that I can think of that looks kind of like this is stuff like Secret of Monkey Island
They were not only frequent, but they
or the Legend of Zelda video game on the Philips CDI.
did a good job of explaining how you got from one area to the next, making it all feel like this large, overarching journey. You know, compared to stuff again like in Duke Nukem 3D, where all the cinematics did was bookend each of the main episodes.
I'm Duke Nukem.
This is actually one of the elements of the remaster which seems to be the least changed as well. Especially when you consider how, in some of those other recent remasters, the cinematics were more or less recreated from scratch. Like in the case of System Shock 2, Heretic and Hexen, and what it looks like they're also doing with the upcoming and arguably unnecessary Blood remaster. Here though, it just looks like
Why are we getting a blood? I heard that. Which one was it? Was it Hexen? Or was it? I don't even remember. Hectic, something like that. One of those games. Hexic. That's what I meant to say. Was it Hexen? Just one of them. Heretic. Fuck. Ended up being really bad. They changed a whole bunch of stuff.
it's been upscaled without actually being redrawn, which, you know what, probably makes sense. Considering that having to redo entire hand-drawn traditional animation like this probably would have been super expensive, not to mention a massive time sink.
Well, I reckon that's true.
In regards to the remaster, well, it's pretty standard stuff and what we've really come to expect from Night Dive at this point, being an entire overhaul of pretty much every aspect of the presentation, apart from the cinematics, with all the textures, weapon and enemy sprites, heads-up display and menus making the whole thing feel much more modernized.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna play the original. That's probably what's gonna happen here. All right, well, I'm gonna leave it there. If you want to check out the rest of this video, I got it linked down there in the description. I don't want to see any more about this because I'm definitely playing it.